Welcome back to another episode of Broswhoclose.
Episode 5.
We're already on the fifth
episode 5 already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. We just started this like a week and a bit ago. And
A week ago.
A week ago.
Yeah.
And we're now on episode 5.
Episode 5. Yeah. I hope you guys are tuning in and hope you guys are enjoying our shenanigans here. All ChatGPT sponsored? Well, not sponsored. ChatGPT assisted.
Assisted.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word, is assisted. I don't
Yeah.
think sponsored should be the word.
Yeah.
It's just assisting us in getting our creative juices flowing quicker.
Exactly. If you're just tuning in to this podcast, then just a quick backstory. Saurabh and I started this a week ago, and we came in to film. We had a table here, and Saurabh's like, let's shoot some content, and we're sitting down, and we're going, Saurabh's like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? We have nothing to talk about. And so we went into ChatGPT. We're like, let's just see if we could start a podcast where we talk daily anyway, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about. Like, why don't we just film it? And so we went into ChatGPT and we gave it some prompts on starting a podcast and what we should talk about. And it just spat out this whole thing. And lo and behold, we're here now at episode 5.
Talking away.
That's it.
It's been good. We're going to be talking about networking today.
Yes.
So networking like a pro. This is probably my favorite topic ever. And you know, it's so funny because every episode that we have shot, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite topic. This is my favorite. But this truly is my favorite topic because, you know, I'm a networking junkie. And for me, I truly believe in any business you're out there, I think your network is everything. And the bigger, the stronger network that you have, the more success, you know, you find in business. Again, it's just one of those sources of guiding you through success, but it truly is one of the sources of you know, being a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah. You know, they say your network is your net worth. It sounds like such a over cliched, you know, saying, but it's so true. And we're going to talk about how that has been instrumental in the growth of our business and how it's gotten us here, right? And why networking is so important. The next person you meet could completely change the trajectory of your business and your life.
Absolutely. And, you know, we'll kind of start with, it reminds me of a story. This is when Sid and I were doing a project called 33 York.
Oh, I think I know who you're going to talk about. Yeah. Yes.
33 Yorkville. We had been spending a lot of money on ads, and it was a great project. We bought, you know, a unit there ourselves, and Sid ended up cold calling a lead, a prospect.
Yeah, we're not going to mention names.
No, we're not
on this podcast, right? But we're running Facebook ads, and we're trying to capture leads to sell this, you know, $2-3 million property to. And I get this one lead, and I see the name. And again, I don't want to give too many details, but I'm like, let me call this guy and see what this is about. So I call him, and of course he picks up, and he owns this, you know, huge company, and let's just say he sells things that a lot of high net worth individuals buy. Right? And so I call him up, and I go, hey, listen, you know, I saw that you signed up for this, and I'm just wondering, like, what are you trying to do? And he goes, do you want to just come into my shop?
And it's so typical him, not that we know him.
And it's so typical, this guy. And he's like, you want to just come into my shop and talk about it? I'm down the street from this project. I go, oh, I hope I don't give that away.
No,
but,
you didn't. No, yeah,
but then I go, yes. I'm like, sure. I was at the cottage at the time. And so then I'm like, okay, hey, I called Saurabh. I'm like, yo, listen, we got to go see this guy. He owns the shop, and this is who he is. We should go see him. And of course, we went there, we met with him, and then a lot of our business that year completely transformed from meeting this one guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He was generous enough to introduce. He liked us, of course.
Yeah.
He took a liking to us. You know, he ended up buying a few condos himself.
Yeah.
But that wasn't
That's another
point.
funny story.
That was so funny. Maybe a story for another time because this will continue on.
Yeah.
But he ended up introducing us to, you know, he was generous enough to introduce us to so many of his network. And that totally changed the trajectory of our business. And, you know, I have so many more examples like that where, you know, you meet the one person, you say yes to an opportunity, or you say yes to go to one event, or you say yes to going and playing pickleball with somebody. And you never know who you're going to meet and what that person what could do for you or what you could do for them.
Yeah.
Even, right? So, to that point, I think network is very important. Saying yes to meeting people is important.
Yeah.
Taking
Saying yes to people is important, but also showing up time and time again is also important, right? You want to meet that person once and you want to start building a relationship from there where you're, being in front of that person more often so that there's more doors that open.
Yeah, and then people ask me this all the time, and what does that really mean? And I feel that people talk about network, people talk about what does that truly mean, and yes, it is important to go and spend time with those people. It's truly important to build a relationship, right? I think it's not just about whatever business we're in real estate. When I meet people, I don't necessarily go and just tell them like, hey man, so what are you going to buy from me? Right? Like that's not the intention. The intention is truly to get to know that person, to truly build a relationship with that person. And then when the time comes, they'll transact with you.
Yeah, 100%. What's a easy way for an agent who may not have, let's just say, a well-to-do network, and how does an agent go about, let's just say they're watching this and they go, yes, I want to network and I want to find people who will open doors for me, right?
Right.
How does someone go about doing that?
Yeah, great question. So I feel that the easiest way is to be able to meet people and do things with them. So what I mean by that is, let's just say if you are a great tennis player, right? You enjoy playing tennis. And that's your passion. Like you truly like playing tennis outside. Go join a tennis club.
Right.
We have now started playing pickleball. Go join a pickleball club.
Yeah. Very addicting sport, by the way.
Extremely addicting. So whatever whatever if you have kids, best example, easiest network to meet.
Yeah.
You just go meet if you're a brand new mom or brand new dad. If you're in this industry.
Yeah.
Go to events where kids are going to be. Like if your kids are extremely young, go to events. When I say events, I don't necessarily mean that, well, you're going to a party, but it could be, meet and greets outside. It could be meeting people at the park.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. It could be meeting people at school if your kids are old enough to go to school or daycare.
Yeah.
So encompass whatever you're doing in life to your network.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the easiest way to start networking.
Yeah. And I think what you said earlier is so important. Don't just join the network to go and start plastering your business everywhere, because that could turn people off.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? If you're joining something, if you're wanting to be part of a network, go in with the right intentions. And, not Think and Grow Rich. What's the other book? How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
It's a great example, right? Classic book. If you haven't read, make sure you read that book. It has classic examples of just basic networking. When you go meet somebody at a networking event, instead of talking about what you do, ask the other person, hey, what do you do?
Yes.
Right? And I think there's a book that we were given one time. Was it Network Like a Pro or Endless Referrals?
Endless Referrals. Yes, Endless Referrals.
It was such a great book. One of our colleagues gave us that book, and I remember reading one excerpt from there. I'm going to probably misquote it, but it said in that book to ask the person, hey, what do you do? But also, hey, how can I bring you more business?
Yes.
Because now you're thinking from the perspective of the other person and how you can help them, and that naturally will reciprocate back to you.
Absolutely. And going back to the point, it's so important, as an entrepreneur, I think I connect really well with other entrepreneurs. So a lot of my network is other entrepreneurs. And same thing, like, go and ask them, hey, how can I bring more value to you? If you're, go out for coffee, go out for lunches. I go out for lunches all the time. And my intention, again, is to just keep solidifying my relationship with those people.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly bringing them value. And I feel that to my network, I probably give more, which is totally fine with me, because that's my intention. My intention is that people around me, I just need to be giving them more, and then of course they reciprocate back, and we get back, and that's why we have done so well over the years.
Yeah, there's something to be said about being genuine and authentic when you are meeting people, taking them out to lunches, and if you do what you're doing, which is give them things and value without expecting anything in return, it seems authentic, and people will naturally give back, whether it's now or whether it's down the road at some point, make more introductions, do business with you, right? So I agree, it's very important. And if you are somebody, let's just say you don't play tennis and you're not into expensive sports, even something as simple as if you like to go to the gym, for example,
100%.
right? That's the best place to network. You're seeing these people almost on a daily basis, right? How many people do we see at the gym
every day? Same
and that we do
person.
business with, right? That's where my network came from. That's where most of my deals in the beginning came from.
Yeah, it was from the gym.
I remember one thing you told me once when we were going to a conference last couple of years ago, and I was buying tickets. And I was like, hey, should I just get the basic ticket? And Saurabh was like, no. He's like, don't buy that bullshit. He goes, buy the most expensive ticket.
Yep.
And that stuck with me because I remember it's not, people think, okay, I'm going to go to this conference and I'm going to take a lot of these things away. I'm going to learn. I'm going to watch. I'm going to have my notepad open, which is great. It's fine. You want to take things away. But the power of these conferences, especially if you're going to industry specific or sales conferences, marketing conferences, is the other people that you meet there.
100%.
And where do you meet the people that are the biggest action takers and growth mindset people?
At events. And they buy the most expensive
They
ticket.
buy the most expensive tickets and they're at the VIP. So what you're paying for is not to get a seat to be so close to the stage. You're buying to be surrounded by other people
Absolutely.
who are like-minded and growth-oriented.
That's why conference goers or the conferences themselves, they want to set that precedent too. They don't want everyone in the room to have the same level of access. They create those access for a particular reason.
Right.
If you're buying a $500 ticket at a conference, well, the person sitting beside you has also spent $500.
Right.
If you're going to a conference that people beside you have spent $5,000, you've spent $5,000. The people beside you have also spent $5,000. So they're also massive action takers, and you're gonna get introduced to that network. One of the other things I wanted to kind of talk about also was, we talked about, well, meeting people outside, whatever you're doing as a hobby, if you're, a tennis player or pickleball player, horse rider, or meeting people at bars, whatever your notion is, that's one part of it. The other part of it is, of course, like we, as we start our business, subscribing to a lot of online lead generation. And people say, well, how do you meet network there? And one of the prime examples was, this particular person that we talked about earlier that we met through there. However, it's also very important to network via follow-up, right? Where a lot of people out there they just go, well, I'm going to call this person one time if it's an internet lead or if it's a cold call lead. And then, when they're ready, they're going to call me back or they didn't buy right away or whatever have you. Follow-up in real estate or just in business in general is so critical. It's not even funny. And you can build that relationship and you can build that trust factor by following up.
100%. I'll give you a prime example of that. I recently worked with a client who before, and this came from an online lead source, before I even got anything under agreement or contract with this individual, because I was following up, he wasn't yet ready to sell, but because of the persistence and the follow-up, he gave me another referral, right? And I had access to his network. So it's such an important point is that even if somebody's not willing to do business with you today, they have a network that you can tap into.
Absolutely.
One of the scripts that we use at the end of our call, when we used to cold call and when we follow up with online leads, is if they weren't ready to transact, we'd ask them, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell right now? Because everybody knows. There's the power of networking really lies in each individual because every person that knows 200 people. That person that you get introduced to knows 200 people. So your network really is endless.
Absolutely. And again, if you just go in with that growth mindset, if you just go in with a service mindset, and we call our clients even now, and I'm not always calling asking for business. Sometimes I'm just calling just to shoot the shit with my clients to see how they're doing. And of course, they know I'm an agent, so real estate always does come up. They'll because everyone's curious about real estate. This is the great thing about our industry. And we're very blessed to be living in a city that we live in because real estate is not like this everywhere else in the world, right? So I think in Canada in general, in Toronto in general, actually Canada probably, real estate is a very hot topic. So people do want to talk about real estate all the time. But again, the intention when I do call my clients back is not again to ask for business. It's sometimes just to see like how they're doing, if they need anything from us. If they need any help, if they, or whatever. Again, just going with the service mindset.
Do you think a person who doesn't network can really scale and grow their business?
That's a tough one. I truly feel that of all the books that I've read, the people that I've met, that have done that have been extremely successful, I think, I find two commonalities. Number one, they have, they have a great mentor, and that's very important.
Yeah.
To whether that mentor is accessible to you immediately. That what I mean by that is you could call them and talk to them, or if that mentor could be somebody that you're listening to via books, and that's how we got started.
Yeah.
Initially our mentor, we were just listening to this person. We go to this person's conferences. And that was our mentor. So that was one commonality. And the second one is that they had a great network. So, again, I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, I feel that for you to truly grow and scale, you need people around you that are rooting for you, that are cheering for you, that want you to do well, and and grow with you, really.
Yeah, it's the fastest, most cost-effective way to grow your business, as opposed to chasing down leads, randomly trying to door knock, which those things are fine and they're great. That should always be a pillar of lead source and revenue for you. But then the easiest, most accessible is the people that are brought to you warm, right? Who already have social proof done with their referral partner. So networking is super important. In a future episode, I'm glad you brought up mentorship. We'll talk about mentorship as well. Yeah. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode today on networking. As always, if you're new, please give us a follow on YouTube, Broswhoclose, Instagram, Broswhoclose, TikTok, Broswhoclose. All right.
All right.
Cheers.